Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Oh, today is a glorious, glorious day because, number one, the sun is shining. It's always a good day when the sun is shining. Football season in full effect. We had one of the great regular season finishes in the recent history of the NFL last night, and the Minnesota Vikings play tonight on Monday Night Football. So we are live this morning on the Purple Daily YouTube channel for an NFL Takes edition. So usually we do NFL Takes kind of after we do like all of our Viking stuff, and then we post it. But we're live for NFL Takes because what a weekend of football. So we'll go around the room for like an hour here, and we will just sling takes about what we saw on Red Zone Sunday Night Football. But first, quick trip, Judd. Let's start this week, a big week, the right way. Let's do it.
And we'll start it where you always should, which is a quick trip. It could be for a coffee. It could be for a snack. It could be for lunch. Heck, don't let the gasoline tank get to eat. Fill up at Kwik Trip. Kwik Trip has all the answers. And Kwik Trip's Gatorade Border Battle also is on. Are you Team Purple? Yes. Or Green and Gold? No. Either way, score the ultimate fan experience. 2 Turf Suite tickets to the Week 18 Vikings-Packers showdown at US Bank Stadium, plus a $250 Kwik Trip gift card to fuel your fandom. If you want in, head to your local Kwik Trip and purchase any Gatorade product with Kwik Rewards, and you'll earn bonus fan zone points. Packers, Vikings, let the Gatorade Border Battle begin. No purchase necessary. Get full details at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
Love it, love it. Before you give your first take here, and we'll be starting with the game last night, and then we'll just go around the entire NFL sphere. How excited are you guys to finally watch JJ McCarthy tonight in an actual regular season game, 18 months after the draft, 17 months, whatever it's been?
Oh, it's about time. It's just it. I am very jacked. I did nothing yesterday, but actually I did nothing but leave. I did nothing but leave the couch. It was awesome. For 6 hours I was locked in. There was one stop to go get pizza before the Sunday night game, and that was it. And after watching all these other quarterbacks, some duds, some studs, I'm excited to finally get my eyes on the actual dude, JJ McCarthy. Monday Night Football too. Love me some primetime. I know we've had to wait. We're the last team to play if you're a Vikings fan, but I'm jacked, man. This is finally here. It's been a long time coming.
I feel like there's pressure now, though. The pressure to live up to the games.
And as Elite Feet sends into the comments, the pressure to live up to Aaron
Talk about
Rodgers'
it. Yeah.
debut with the Steelers yesterday.
Yeah. And
that's
that
the
game,
bar. You rejected that, Kevin O'Connell.
And that game was great fun. I think that might have been the best game, in my opinion, of the early window, as they say. But yeah, I feel like there's pressure, not on McCarthy per se, which there obviously is, but just on the Vikings and Bears. Live up to that game, guys, because for week one, I ordinarily complain because it's ordinarily there's a lot of missed tackles, there's a lot of bad football because essentially these days no one plays in the preseason.
Yeah.
But I mean, it might be recency bias, but I feel like yesterday was one of the great week ones in its totality that I've ever seen.
And if you go back to just including like Chargers and Chiefs and even the kind of the crazy Cowboys-Eagles game that had the delay and everything, they did a good job just putting together great matchups and great storylines. I mean, even as you work your way down kind of 5 or 6 games down the storyline list, Aaron Rodgers going back to play the Jets in week 1 with a gigantic chip on his shoulder, sticking it to them with 4 touchdowns, and then popping off in the press conference afterwards. So, but let's start. We'll go around the room for like an hour here on Purple Daily NFL Takes. Judd, lead us off.
All right, off of the Bills-Ravens game last night, which looked like it was going to become at some point potentially a comfortable Baltimore victory, my take is that I don't know that in the regular season, playoffs are different, but I don't know in the regular season we are going to see a better game as far as drama, excitement, as far as a sea change goes. I mean, there's still a lot of football to be played. It's going to be awesome. I don't know, though, that we are going to top it. That is one of the most incredible games that I've seen just from so many different angles. And I mean, let's start with this. Lamar Jackson against Josh Allen, and it's that? Are you kidding me? So I think we might have seen the best regular season game that we are going to see, and I think it might have been the last game of Sunday in week 1.
And a scoregami.
Oh,
A scoregami to top it off, baby. God, I was literally, so the last 2 minutes of that game, I was on my phone, and the scoregami website on your phone is very difficult to navigate. It's like you have to
it's not
you have to
mobile friendly.
put the tiniest little finger in the box of is this empty or is it full? So then, and my wife was like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm
He's
like,
zooming in.
I'm
with
trying to
these
see. And then she actually goes, "Oh, you're doing scoregami, aren't you?" She's like, "You're damn right. I'm trying to figure out a scoregami." I was trying to figure this out with 4 minutes to go. Not even the fact when the fumble happened with Derrick Henry, I was like, "Oh, we're on scoregami watch right now." So yeah, I'm a Judd too. I don't know. Going to be hard to top that. If you're in terms of game of the year candidates, obviously we only have the 1 week of slate of games, but that's going to be, I think, certainly up there by the time the regular season and potentially playoffs and Super Bowl are done.
Also, isn't it kind of, I do have a take, kind of a broader take off that game, but isn't it kind of crazy as you sit here, Vikings fans, about to watch JJ McCarthy for the first time? What does he look like Monday night, under the lights, regular season? And then thinking ahead, wouldn't it be great if this kid that you drafted, one of the highest quarterback draft picks in franchise history, if he could eventually become that top 5 caliber quarterback that this franchise has been searching for? They've had some fleeting passing moments with it, right? 2009 Brett Favre, 2004 Dante Culpepper, but did they potentially nail a sustainably great top 5-ish quarterback? And then you watch those two guys play last night, and you see how high that bar is. I mean, the level of the haymakers back and forth between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, it does show you with today's rules and the way that quarterbacks are, it's a very quarterback friendly league. That is the bar for if you whoever your young quarterback is, Caleb Williams, if it's Drake May and you're watching him grind it out yesterday, in 3 or 5 years, what will it take to look like that Josh Allen in the fourth quarter down by 15 points? It's a really steep mountain to climb.
And the incredible thing too is when you think about it, Josh Allen still hasn't gotten past the Chiefs. Now, this might be his year, I don't know, and in some ways, I really feel for Lamar Jackson. I mean, this guy's incredible. He's won 2 MVPs. He's done everything possible. He had that game last night. Henry fumbles. And it's just like, if you're him, you are a great player, and you still haven't climbed that mountain. So, yet the amount of guys that you have to get past, especially right now in that conference, is incredible.
That is a perfect segue to my first NFL take of the regular season. And then I was thinking last night as the Bills are driving down, setting up for that game-winning field goal, it's about to end 41-40, an all-time classic, that the AFC is as great right now as any conference has ever been in the history of the NFL. So literally take the 1993 NFC, pick any year, any conference. In the history of the NFL, has any conference ever been as strong as the AFC is right now in the NFL? So we already hit on Ravens, Bills, and just those guys were playing a different game last night than most teams can even think about scheming. Video game quarterbacks. We haven't even talked about Derrick Henry is a right tackle playing running back. Did you see him dispose of that defensive back in the second quarter?
Yeah, it was
just stiff arms that dude straight 6 feet into the ground. And so over the last 6 years of the Lamar Jackson era, the Ravens are averaging 11.5 wins per season, multiple MVPs for the quarterback. The Bills are averaging over the last 5 years, like the heart of the Josh Allen era, 12 wins per season. And neither of those teams can get to the Super Bowl because of the other teams in the AFC that stand in their way. The Chiefs with Mahomes and Andy Reid. Joe Burrow got to a Super Bowl 3 years ago. And then beneath that layer of Hall of Fame quarterbacks and teams that are all-time great teams that can't get to a Super Bowl, you've got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, who just made a statement last Friday night. You have Hall of Famer to be Sean Payton and the Broncos, who won a bunch of games, won again yesterday. Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers. Pete Carroll just rolled in with the Raiders. He's a Hall of Fame coach with a Super Bowl, and they won their debut yesterday. I mean, the AFC, even as you get to teams 6, 7, and 8, the teams you're leaving out of the playoffs are going to be like, wow, that's a Hall of Fame coach and maybe even a future Hall of Fame quarterback. So I just, maybe someone can fight me on this, but This is as great as any conference has ever been in the history of the NFL.
Has there ever been a conference with this much star power at quarterback at the same time, too?
Yeah.
Maybe like AFC, Elway, Marino, Jim Kelly, like late 80s, early 90s. But even as you say that out loud, who's the fourth guy?
Well, and
Joe Burrow's the fourth guy in this scenario.
And the precision, though, like with these guys, first of all, in defense of the old school guys, they played in an era where it was a very different game, and you basically could be hit very hard and you didn't draw a penalty flag. But if you think about the precision that we saw last night between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and then you go to, I mean, all due respect, Dex, because he's not been good in the playoffs, but Justin Herbert is a phenomenal regular season QB. Like, you watch that dude play and it's like, oh my God, Burrow. So I don't think we've ever seen a conference, partially because of the rules, but with this much talent and just star power at one position, and it happens to be the most important position in all of sports.
Yeah.
I just went back and I just went 2007. I just picked a random year. 2007 passing stats on Pro Football Reference. So Brady obviously had the MVP insane year that year. Drew Brees gets to New Orleans like a season or two before, so he's emerging into like Drew Brees prime years. Tony Romo had a big year. Peyton Manning had a big year. Then you have like Big Ben was, I forget, Big Ben was only 25 in 2007. I feel like he was perpetually 32 years old because he just looked exactly the same and was pretty much a really good quarterback for a long time. But, I mean, I gave you some solid names, like some really, and Hall of Fame names there, Brady and Manning and stuff. Breeze, Hall of Famer. But you look up and down the top 7, 8 quarterbacks right now, even with the Steven Ruizes of the world who might have a controversial one higher than most. I think I'm with Phil and with both of you that the collective of quarterback play right now is on a completely different level.
But even like in 2007, some of the guys you named were spread across 2 different conferences.
Yeah.
There are 4 absolute first ballot Hall of Famers in the AFC right now once you get past Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. And then you could start to look at some of the other guys too. So it is, it's a beast, man. And the Ravens, that roster, their running game, the precision of Lamar Jackson, there's something about them, though, late in some of these close games that they just like have not figured out how to fully navigate. They had 2 chances. One was a fumble, and Derrick Henry doesn't fumble a lot. But then they had another chance after that to put the game away, and I believe they decided to punt instead of go for it in a game where the teams were going to combine for 80 points. It's like your defense ain't winning this game against that quarterback. So little coaching decisions like that too can make a huge difference.
Cool. It's a great game.
All right, I'll give you guys one. We can even now maybe stay. We can go back to the NFC, but stay in the NFC North. My statement is I think the Lions are in trouble. And this is not even old Dex Speech liking to take a victory lap here because I thought maybe some regression was going to happen to these kiddies. But I went back and looked at this. So Ben Johnson was the OC for the Lions for 3 seasons. Yesterday, the Detroit Lions only got up to 246 total yards. And by the way, and maybe this is the next statement, credit to Green Bay. Green Bay looked really damn good yesterday. Like, it wasn't just the Lions failing to live up to expectations. The Packers, sorry, Vikings fans, look pretty dang legit. So credit to the Packers for having a really good defense and just being able to march up and down the field. But I found this stat yesterday. So the Lions got to 246 yards. Only once in Ben Johnson's tenure as Lions OC did the Lions fail to get to 246 yards, and it was in a blowout win against when they won 55-7 last year over the Titans. So it's just, yes, it's one game, it's a small sample size. Week 1, sometimes weird things happen. They're playing a really good team on the road in Green Bay. And I know Judd has kind of a statement too on the state of that offensive line, which is definitely going to be a problem. But I don't know if Ben Johnson is going to be a magician like he is, like he's going to be maybe with Chicago. But when he was the OC of the Lions, that was one of the best, if not the most productive and efficient offense in the NFL. And in one game with some of the same weapons there, offensive line, a problem. The Lions failed to really show that they can still be that legitimate offense that can march up and down the field.
So John Morton, who I think was with Sean Payton in Denver last year, is the new OC. And yeah, it wasn't a great game as far as the play calling, and Jared Goff didn't have a great day. But let me tell you right now, and I bet this is going to come up later today on the O-line committee with your two big brutes
Dude,
there.
You should be on that text thread right now.
Who played interior line. This has to do with one thing offensively, because Jared Goff didn't just get bad. Like, this is not going to be, because that will be the narrative if Detroit struggles. Well, Jared Goff, you knew this was going to happen. The interior of that offensive line is in disarray, and I don't know that you can fix it. And here's why. So in March, they lost right guard Kevin Zeitler as a free agent to the Titans. And what they said, probably rightfully so, is, okay, we'll plug a guy in there, but we've still got our left guard, and more importantly, we still have a multi-time Pro Bowl center in local kid from here, Frank Ragnow. Now, in early June, we talked about this, but it's early June. It's an offensive lineman deciding to suddenly retire. Ragnow up and retires, okay? So let me give you what the Lions had to do, and it was on full display yesterday against a team that has Micah Parsons now and can pressure a quarterback. Does this sound familiar? A team that might play here locally that has added interior pressure? Yes, it does. Graham Glasnow was moved from guard. He was going to come back at guard to center. Christian Mahogany, a 6th-round pick in 2024, who had played, I think, in 7 games and started 1 last year, now becomes your starting left guard. And 2nd-round pick Tate Ratledge is all of a sudden your right guard. And ladies and gentlemen, as you all have learned and we have learned in recent years, if your interior protection is not up to snuff, it's going to cause immediate QB pressure, which it did, and it's going to cause your run game to suffer, which it did. I think this is a lot about that, and I don't know, and it's great news for Vikings fans, but I don't know that you can fix this.
Yeah, I'm trying to not overreact to anything that you see in week 1, but there's like 5 or 6 things that really popped up in week 1, and that's one of them. The way that the Lions looked and the way that the Packers looked, because we could flip this around and have that conversation too.
Yep.
But it did feel like the Lions losing 40% of their offensive line was glossed over as, well, we've got enough depth. We could just kind of move this guy over to center and we'll plug in our 6th-round pick. But according to Pro Football Focus last year, out of 122 qualified centers and guards who played enough snaps, the 5th highest graded interior offensive lineman was Kevin Zeitler, and the 6th highest graded interior offensive lineman was Frank Ragnow. So among all of the interior offensive linemen in the entire league, they lost the 5th and 6th ranked guys from that list. Literally, like, they're on a list with Creed Humphrey, Quinn Miners, Quentin Nelson, Joe Tooney, Tyler Linderbaum, like the household name offensive lineman guys. That's what Zeitler and Ragnow were. So it's something to watch. I'm the only one who doesn't know ball on this show who picked the Lions to still win the division. I'm a little less confident about that prediction. But can I jump in with a Packers thing because we're talking about this game?
Yeah.
The Packers are a problem. Mm-hmm. And I know this is Purple Daily, and everyone's all excited for Vikings-Bears tonight, as we should be. But this sort of dismissal of the Packers, they get whooped up on by the Vikings and the Lions, and they were a blocked field goal away from going 0-6 in the division last year. Well, that team was fringe top 5 scoring offense and had the 6th best scoring defense last year. No one really talked about that. The Packers held up, like, the Vikings defense was 5th in scoring. The Packers were 6th. They held opponents to under 20 points a game, and then they added Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks and a really good player. But yesterday, they were the team that held the Lions to the yardage that Declan was talking about. They held the Lions to 3.8 yards per play in that game. Now, some of it's offensive line, some of it's the Lions stuff to clean up. But if the biggest knock on the Packers last year was, you can draw a line right across their schedule for who they can and can't beat. They can beat the average to below average teams, but they can't beat the Eagles. They can't beat the Lions. They can't beat the Vikings. They can't beat the top tier teams in the NFC. Well, unless you don't think the Lions are a top tier team anymore, and you laid that out, they just checked that box. So I just like the Packers are going to be very, very good this season. They showed why. That game was not close. They outgained the Lions by 2 yards per play over the course of 3 hours, which is a monster gap. So, yeah, keep an eye out across the border for that team.
Parsons is a huge problem. Not because his statistics are going to be great. I think he had 1 sack and like 3 pressures, and he didn't play a ton of snaps. But if you noticed, he frees everybody else up, and that's the problem. So the Lions all of a sudden are double teaming Parsons, and yeah, they can contain him, but guess what? Somebody else gets free. So I think Green Bay, man, defensively, I like them a lot. I like him more now than I probably did, but the Parsons trade changed that quite a bit. And Jordan Love looked good too. So yes, the Packers, I would say, and I picked them to win the division, I would say that the Packers, if they continue and maintain health, are going to be a problem. And keep in mind too, they actually have a real receiving core now.
Well, yeah, and I think it was in the first quarter, Jordan Love had already found like 8 different targets.
Yeah. They got a real receiving core.
And so they don't have a Justin Jefferson necessarily, but they have a bunch of guys who can, within that system, catch a lot of passes. Okay, before we keep going here with our NFL takes, and we can get to some Viking stuff too, because there is some news that came out over the weekend that we have not touched on yet. A shout out to Grandpa's Barbecue for powering Purple Daily NFL takes this season, Dex.
Yeah, so if you're a year-round griller, I mean, the weather right now, I don't know where it's going. It was like 42 degrees on Friday night, and now it's going to be like in the mid-70s. Regardless, I like to grill into the winter. Some people don't. You still have plenty of great months left of fall grilling season, too. So whether it's the dry rubs, the sauces, you can go to grandpa'sbarbecueshop.com to get stocked up on all those supplies. Locally, too, here in the Twin Cities. You can find them at Fratelloni's locations too. So if you're a barbecue snob, if you love to be on the grill year round, go to grandpa'sbarbecueshop.com.
If you're a football snob and you want to make some money watching football, Prize Picks is a great place to win real money this football season. My favorite one for tonight here. So by the way, it's really easy. You pick between 2 and 6 players and you select more or less on their projected stats. I'm going to show you this one right here for the YouTube audience. Adam Thielen, 31.5 receiving yards. He is, now there's a report that he's not going to be out there necessarily for every snap, but I think the more you get into these games and the more teams take away Justin Jefferson, and they're really, until Addison's back, there's not a really reliable third wide receiver right now, depending on Jalen Naylor's hand. I think Thielen's going to be on the field a lot, and I feel like 31.5 is a little low for tonight. So that's where my attention is on the Prize Picks app here. You can download the Prize Picks app, use the code PURPLEDAILY, and get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. And Minnesota Lottery is back for the 2025 season, Judley.
Absolutely. And guess what? With their new Vikings scratch game, this could be your year. Not just their year, but your year as well, or your season, or perhaps your day, because each time you play, you have a chance at, get this, $100,000 plus great second chance prizes like cash and Viking season tickets. Just like with the Vikings celebration dances that aren't just okay, they're actually encouraged. So say I'm in and play the new Viking scratch game from the Minnesota Lottery. Must be 18 or older to play. Give yourself a chance to do one of those. Cam Bynum, I saw it with the Colts yesterday, celebration dances.
The hamstring, the fake hamstring.
Yeah, that's just ripped up. That's ripped off from Jefferson. He introduced that as a Viking, right?
The fake hammy gritty.
The fake hammy gritty,
which
I don't enjoy.
I did not enjoy that one.
No.
So if you're Jefferson, like now that you've had a couple big hamstring
You don't do
injuries,
that anymore.
You don't. Yeah.
Pick a
I
new
feel like
body
it's bad.
part.
I feel like it's bad luck too.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad karma.
Yeah, I feel like you're putting it out there. Don't like you putting it out there.
Yeah. Why don't you put out another NFL take here?
Okay. All right. My take is this. Sam Darnold has had the clamps put on him in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if you boys saw this. It was part of the red zone. It wasn't a ton, but the Niners and Seahawks. Anyway, Sam Darnold's final line in the box score yesterday was 16 of 23 for 150 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He did have a crucial late fumble in which he had some pressure. The Seahawks are down by 4. They're at the Niners' 9-yard line, and Darnold goes. He's in the pocket. It's sort of collapsing, and he goes back to pass, and he hits his own offensive lineman and fumbles. I saw that they were saying it was a strip sack. He stripped himself. So that was a strip sack by the quarterback himself.
And Ed Ingram doesn't play for the Seahawks, right?
No, and he didn't play yesterday. I think he was hurt for the Texans because I looked for him. Anyway, just for some context on Darnold's day, and it's one game, but big picture what it meant. So he completed 16 passes yesterday. He completed as few as 16 passes in a game last season only once. So he had more than 16 completions every other game. His 23 attempts, this might be more important. His 23 attempts were fewer than he had in any game with Kevin O'Connell last season. And the 150 yards throwing was lower than any total he had all of last year, including the clunkers. Seattle, so you're saying, okay, yeah, but you don't understand sports, Dad. They were running the football so effectively that this is all Darnold's going to have to do. They ran as a team for 84 yards in a 17-13 loss. So Sam Darnold, I don't know if there's not a lot of trust there, if they felt he shouldn't pass as much against San Francisco. But like O'Connell took the car out on the freeway and said, okay, it's my car. I'm going to drive it as fast and efficiently as I can. The Seahawks took it out on the freeway and they drove like they're 89 years old. They're creeping down the right, and people are honking and being, get out of the way, Sam Darnold. So statistically, I thought it was really interesting that he definitely didn't have the trust from Clint Kubiak that he did from Kevin O'Connell.
I think, first of all, this is like you're going to be a bully if we keep doing this every week with Sam Darnold. You've spent the offseason making anti-Sam Darnold predictions.
This is worth
right away,
a mention.
25 minutes in, you're already clowning on Sam Darnold.
I'm not clowning on him. I'm saying they didn't trust him to throw the football.
Can we wrap this and Aaron Rodgers' performance in a bow that poses the question, like it's like a regret index number that we can come up with? Because like really they made their decision. He's not a Viking anymore for a reason. We all agreed.
Right.
So there's no debate to be had unless there is a small contingent of people that feel like they made a mistake not re-signing Darnold or not bringing in Aaron Rodgers for $5 or $10 million.
Oh no, I'm not doing this through the prism of the Vikings. I'm doing this through the prism of you have been released from QB rehab school.
That is through the prism.
How does it go? How does it go? No, how does it go with your new team? And I find it interesting that they basically, Sam Darnold, for the most part, he won 14 games. Slinging the ball, slinging Sammy, right? I find it interesting. This is more of a Seahawks, like, what are we doing here if you're not going to, because it's not like you ran the ball effectively either. So my question is, okay, he threw the ball effectively, and you're now going to, there's a difference between managing a game and having and being restricted. He basically ran that game yesterday with a governor on his arm. He had a governor. They said, we're not going to allow you. I find this interesting. I am not here to bully. I am here to wonder.
But the answer is easy. He's not, like, you have to have a governor on him because he's not the guy that you can send out there like Josh Allen and some of the other guys that went top 10. His career has played that out. And Kevin O'Connell has his own way of putting a governor on. Like Kevin O'Connell, it may not seem like it because, oh my God, he's throwing the ball down the field and look at him. But Kevin O'Connell does such a great job of giving answers to the test before the ball is snapped.
Right.
That when the ball is snapped and Darnold's taking chances down the field, it may seem like, oh, they've taken the training wheels off of him. No, they've actually like given him the answers to the Blue Book test, and he's just giddily putting down the right answer with an 18-yard throw down the field because Kevin O'Connell's a great offensive mind. But I'll bring the Aaron Rodgers yesterday was not cooked at all. He's 41 years old, and it looked like he's finally free of this terrible Jets organization infrastructure. He's with Mike Tomlin, who he's admired for a long time. And so if you were to take those two guys who the Vikings had those guys both wanted to be Vikings, Darnold and Aaron Rodgers. The regret index for Darnold is 0 at this point. Where is the regret index for Rodgers after watching a non-cooked Aaron Rodgers in week 1?
I'm at 0.
0 still? Okay.
Yeah, because you don't, as I've said the entire time, you do not draft McCarthy with a top 10 pick not to play him for 2 years. Like if the Vikings didn't have a quarterback and it had passed and had somebody else starting, I'd be like, yeah, that seems odd. But in my opinion, if you had sign Rodgers, what does that say about what you think about a guy that you took with a top 10 pick? I mean, Jordan Love and when Rodgers was taken by Green Bay were taken in the 20s. And I still don't agree with sitting them for as long as they did, but at least they were in the 20s. No.
Is there that much of a difference though? If your pick is at 10 or your pick is at 20, you're still using a first round pick,
right?
Your first round pick
but
on a quarterback.
But what I'm saying is, if you go in on a first round pick as a top 10 and are like, okay, hurt year one, now I don't trust him year two. I think that's a difference from if you have a quarterback that you take at like 26.
Yeah. Joel wants to throw a third quarterback into the regret index.
I was going to mention this. Unbelievable.
What about Daniel Jones?
Unbelievable game. What a game. First quarterback. So did I see this right? The Colts are the first team since the 70s to have to score a field goal or touchdown on every possession. I think they found it. It's like 1971 or something.
Usually there's a kneel down that wipes the stat out, and they didn't end the game with the ball, so it's kind of a technicality.
It's a great day. Great day for Danny Dimes. I didn't see it coming. I mean, the Dolphins might suck, but that's a whole nother story.
Maybe he did learn a thing or two during his month and a half at QB rehabs.
Mea culpa. Danny Dimes, he is a Harvard level student, and I didn't realize it.
He's one of those, the students that graduate high school in like 2.5 years, because I don't know how that works. Apparently that was Daniel Jones in quarterback rehab school. He's like, you guys, you think I needed a full year? I took the entire curriculum and then regurgitated it back in a month and a half. I'm ready to go save the Colts.
Exactly.
Let me loose. I'm going to score on every possession the entire season. All right.
The Dolphins could be in. That was one of my takeaways. I think the Dolphins are in trouble, and how quickly the shine can wear off in the NFL. So Mike McDaniel comes in, same year as Kevin O'Connell, this boy genius, rightfully so at the time, praises Tua, and everyone says, what? I think his quote was like, he's the most accurate thrower of the football he's ever seen, and everyone was like, what are you? I'm paraphrasing a little bit there, I think, but what are you talking about?
He pretty much said that, yeah.
And to his credit, he ended up, oh wow, there's a deep ball in Tua's game we've never seen before, and he was incredibly accurate. Now, to give McDaniel, I guess, some slack, Tua ends up having these career-altering concussions that you can't really necessarily prepare for or hope for or have to plan for. But the Dolphins, man, I mean, they got worked. Tua yesterday, I believe, a QBR, which, by the way, bravo to whoever took Cam Ward, because I think his QBR was 7.7. But Tua's yesterday, 2.7 QBR.
Wow.
2 interceptions, sacked 3 times, dropped back 23 times for 114 yards. Oh man, I do have tiers. I've ranked every team that played so far. I don't have the Vikings or Bears on there, just FYI. I have every team that played so far in week 1 in tiers that I can flash on the screen here in just a bit. But the Dolphins, man, I think them and McDaniel, and then that ownership has to basically decide too. And I'll have to pull up Tua's contract, but if the Dolphins are in play for a top 5 pick next year, I don't know if they'll be that bad, but if they're in play for the top 5 pick in the draft in 2026, man, that's going to create a very interesting scenario of, do you still trust Mike McDaniel, which I wouldn't fight too hard, but you might have to move on too. So
I think that there's a toxicity there that people that cover the team have kind of sensed a certain vibe from that organization, and the Tyreek Hill stuff going back to the end of last year. I have a bin in my notes just watching football all day yesterday called Week 1 Overreaction or No. And one of them was Daniel Jones is this year's Sam Darnold, which we already kind of talked about. The next one is the Dolphins are headed for a complete reset. New head coach, new, more durable quarterback, and a Tyreek Hill trade, all in the next 12 months, or probably more 8 months, because the draft is in April or May. So it's something to watch for sure, especially in that division. The Patriots lost and looked kind of clunky, but they got Vrabel, they got Drake May. I think the Patriots are going to be feisty. The Jets lost on a bomb field goal, but still put up one of the best offensive performances in recent Jets history. They run the ball. They've got a fiery new head coach, and that shine's not going to wear off for maybe a couple of years at least. So it does kind of feel like, in terms of stocks in the AFC East, that the Dolphins are 4th right now after week 1.
Yeah. Justin Fields was very good, I thought, too. I thought he was really good. And the OC for Aaron Glenn with the Jets now is the guy that was the passing game coordinator for Detroit. I don't know if he decided to leave and had been offered the OC job or not. But yeah, I actually thought that the Jets were one of the most impressive teams from a team I didn't expect much from.
Yeah, I agree. Curious to see what they look like in week 2.
Yep.
Can I throw this one out here? It kind of pertains to tonight's game because it's Bears related. That story that came out from Tyler Dunn's Go Long Substack about Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So my take here is it's behind a paywall. There's some snippets of it, and I'll read a couple. And it was over the weekend, so I'm not sure how many people like mainstream got to see this, but my take is the Bears either had one of the least competent coaching staffs in NFL history, which is plausible because they've had that before, or they drafted the wrong quarterback in one of the great quarterback talent drafts of all time. So there's a few different, and I think part 3 is either on the way or just came out, but it's like a 3-part look talking to 30 different people from different levels of the Bears organization, current and former, talking to the former coaching staff that got fired and tried to work with Caleb Williams. But this excerpt here is incredible to me. Caleb Williams struggled to execute elementary tasks. Every day was a new disaster. In the springtime, so like the early part of his career, the Bears changed the snap count to appease Caleb. Instead of using a combination of colors and numbers like every other team in the NFL, red 98, white 80, blue 42, the Bears reverted to a ready, set, go straight out of JV football because that's what the quarterback requested. Aside from the obvious on-field consequences like defenders being able to tee off on that primitive snap count, the Bears were establishing a troubling precedent in allowing a rookie to tell them exactly what to do. Veterans couldn't believe it. Are you bleeping me? One receiver asked a coach. When a play call was sent in, Caleb would stare at his wristband for a painful length of time, like it was in another language. And when you would verbalize the play calls, oftentimes things were backwards or incorrect. It was later discovered, and I'm not trying to make fun of him here, but he has a learning disability and he deals with dyslexia. And the general manager, Ryan Poles, who has access to all of that information, was aware that he had this condition, but didn't communicate it, apparently, to the coaching staff and the people that were going to be working with him. And some of the coaches, I'm paraphrasing here, were like, well, it would have been nice to know that because we would have tailored our communication in a different way for him throughout the early portions of training camp. But coaches could sense he'd struggle with basic huddle calls and forget to mention players. And so it would just be a cluster coming out of the huddles. So again, you either have one of the dumbest coaching staffs ever that just has no ability to work with a young quarterback, which is plausible, or they drafted the wrong guy instead of a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May or a JJ McCarthy.
How does the GM know that and not make sure that everyone's on the same page, though? That's remarkable. Like you're given all of this time and you do all of the background on these guys for that purpose. And yeah, I think the Eberflus coaching staff, for the most part, was absolutely terrible. But that being said, for your GM to like hide that, and yeah, if you look at what a quarterback does and the amount of just memory and to get a play call, go into the huddle, articulate that play call incredibly quickly so everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Like, that's got to be one of the toughest jobs in sports. And in a game, it's probably the toughest job that there is in all of sports in game, because you're telling everyone in that huddle what they are supposed to do. So that is remarkable, and good reporting there by Tyler, but that is remarkable.
But that, like, the language of the play stuff seems difficult to us because we don't speak that language.
Right.
That is something that should be nailed down in spring practice and even in training camp, so that when you get to week 1 or week 2, you're not worried about, like, okay, how do I read the play, or what do all these things mean? And so then you saw so many times with the Bears where they come out of the huddle, and you don't know what was said or happened or communicated in the huddle, but they looked discombobulated, either lined up wrong, or they're trying to organize. So now you got 15 seconds left or 10 seconds left, and you're to the point where you're trying to diagnose what the defense is showing and maybe make a check. And so to not be buttoned up in that regard, and this is where you got to give credit to Kevin O'Connell and some of these other, Matt LaFleur throughout the years too, these offensive guru coaches. They button that stuff up. So when Darnold or McCarthy gets to the line of scrimmage, it's generally with enough time so that you might even be able to have a coach still communicating with you in the headset, but you can at least take a look at what's happening and figure out what some of the answers were. It felt like watching the Bears last year, that the ball would be snapped and Caleb had no idea what the answers to the test were supposed to be, or even what the test was. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens tonight if it looks like a different product, but he's going up against one of the most confusing and difficult to decipher defenses in today's NFL, the Brian Flores defense. And as smarter people than us who played in the league, the Jeremiahs, the Alexes, and other people have said, it's 60 to 65 plays per game as a young quarterback where you have to walk up there and mentally exhaust yourself trying to figure out, all right, well, God, there's 7 guys up here right now. Looking at their body language and where they're lined up, what does our protection need to be? And so if he even slips up 3 or 4 times, it can lead to a pick six or a game-changing sack or a fumble or something.
But I just don't get how if you're the GM, I don't get how that becomes something that you don't tell everyone about and articulate and talk about how you're going to deal with that. Because these guys, for the most part, make it look pretty simple because they're so damn good, and a lot of them are so damn smart. So, if you're dealing with dyslexia, okay, I can only imagine the amount of just things going through your head as you try to take a play call, decipher it, break it down, go into a huddle, spit it out, get to the line of scrimmage, and then that's when your adjustments start. That's remarkable. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens tonight against the B-Flow defense. Is it time for Dex's Tiers, Week 1 edition here?
Yeah.
And this is TIERS, not TATEARS. There could be 2 different versions of this segment.
Hopefully the Vikings are good, or we could have
we'll do Dex's Tiers tomorrow.
The latter and the former.
Okay. And again, just a disclaimer. Vikings and Bears are not on this list because they did not play. These are just for teams that have played in Week 1. So I understand. We want to see the Vikings on this list. Maybe on next week's NFL Takes, I will likely have Vikings and Bears on there. So I just went with teams that have played so far. Here's what I came up with.
Okay.
Flash this now on the screen a little bit. All right, here we go. Okay, so we'll go from the top. We'll go up. We'll go up. We'll go up. All right. Week 1 Lombardi winners. 2 teams. And I know they're in the same conference, but no one had a better outcome in Week 1, in my opinion, than the Chargers and my guy, who I've always been talking to you about, Justin Herbert, beating up on the Chiefs, and the Colts, who we talked earlier about.
180 from Declan right now.
This is Week 1.
Fraudulent as a take gets right.
What do you mean? Super Bowls are won in Week 1. Chargers did it. They won. They beat up on the Chiefs. Justin Herbert was the most productive quarterback in Week 1. They're Week 1 Lombardi winners.
I don't know about this. Okay.
Yeah, they're Week 1 Lombardi winners, and so are the Colts. Again, I don't know if it's the Dolphins being awful or if Daniel Jones also was having a renaissance, but they also, no one saw the Colts being that productive. We heard the stat already, so those 2 teams are my Lombardi winners.
I do legitimately think that the Chargers could be around this category all season. We'll see about the Colts.
Not the Colts?
But the biggest question about the Chargers, because everyone kind of figured the Chargers were going to be in the hunt for double-digit wins again and maybe flirt with the division. Then they lost their star left tackle. So how are they going to plug that? Well, they drafted Joe Alt, 5th overall a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. He's been at right tackle as a rookie. Well, they moved him over to left tackle, which might be his long-term place anyways. 0 pressures allowed in that Week 1 game against the Chiefs for Joe Alt, left tackle.
And he played left tackle in college as well, though. So I think he's fine there. But yeah, the thing about the Chargers is they're going to be a tough team, which I love about them. And by the way, today on Get Up with Greeny, who's an absolute cyborg, big concern about the Chiefs. I love it. They lose Week 1. Big concern about the Chiefs.
I like it.
I'm curious to see. I don't see them anywhere. Oh, there they are. They're in like the fourth tier here.
I
Well, on the regret index, real quick. Jim Harbaugh. Vikings had him in the building 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think they got the right guy.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
There might have been two right guys.
I don't have a lot of regret this morning.
Okay.
Ask me tomorrow. I might have a ton of regret tomorrow.
Legit contenders tier: Eagles, Packers, Niners, Commanders, Bills. In legit contenders. By the way, I'll go down then back up, but no biggie tier: the Chiefs and the Ravens. Both those teams are still legit contenders. They just had lost their game. I still consider them contenders for the Super Bowl. So you could even still put them in legit contenders. I just separated them because they obviously lost their week 1 game.
The 49ers are hilarious. So Christian McCaffrey tweaks his, was it a hamstring or a calf? Whatever it was. I think it was a hamstring or something. Yeah. He tweaked a muscle in practice like a week ago. And he was questionable. He didn't talk to reporters for a day or two. And oh man, is it fantasy owners are sweating it out? And then he's active, and you're wondering, okay, what's his workload going to be? They wouldn't possibly. And they literally had him touch the ball 32 times in that game, coming off some sort of muscle tweak. So they're going to ride him into the ground at this point. He's on the edge of the age cliff, makes enough money. They're like, dude, if you can get out there, let's just ride him till the wheels fall off.
Just go. The do something tier. Teams that won their game, and I want to see you do a little bit more. So I know the Rams, and by the way, I think on FanDuel, like the Rams are still near the top-ish of still with really good Super Bowl odds. So there might be a little bit of disrespect to the Rams, but it was a little sloppy. It was a little sloppy in week 1, and the Stafford injury that he had coming in kind of concerns me. So I did put them in here, but Cardinals, Raiders, Bengals, Bucks, Steelers, Broncos. Now, some of these teams, again, like they have better quarterbacks or they might have better Super Bowl odds than one another. The Bengals never win in week 1, so that's why they go in the do something tier, because it's like, oh my God, you actually won your first game of the season. Get off to a hot start for once. The Raiders and Cardinals, maybe fun potential wild card teams by the end of the year. What is this week 1 start going to mean for you? Steelers, we just talked about Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's back. Maybe it was just a one-off. And Broncos, they kind of edged it out there. They made the playoffs last year with Bo Nix, so they go in the do something tier. Do something with your week 1 win.
The Bengals, like the only thing that mattered for them, and they looked discombobulated at times, and they had a hard time moving the ball. It was against the Browns. But just win. Don't fall into an 0-1 or 0-2 hole. So mission accomplished. Congratulations, Bengals, for winning a game. Joe Burrow has like the 3rd worst record of any starting quarterback weeks 1 or 2 in NFL history.
Yep.
I think he's now 2-9 in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Preseason playing time too. They actually played their first team quite a bit after never playing previously in recent preseasons. But I will say this: the Browns browned, so I have no idea.
Yes, I think you nailed it there. It was less about, all right, we gave these guys a bunch of preseason reps and they were a well-oiled machine. It was more like the Browns were the first team on their schedule and they just didn't totally blow it up.
If the Bengals are good, it will be interesting to see, since this is such a copycat league, though, if a few more teams play their guys. Now, the argument is the Chiefs do. They play Mahomes and the first team in the exhibition games a bit more than most teams. But, yeah, the Browns were poor Kevin Stefanski. That team is just, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
The I don't know what you are tier. The Seahawks, Titans, Panthers, Jags, Patriots, Falcons, Jets. So some of these teams, I don't know where you're going to go yet. You had some question marks coming into the season. Some of you were able to win some games here, but I don't know what you are going to be going forward. You have some question marks long-term at quarterback. I don't know exactly the direction you're going in, but they get lumped in to one of the more crowded tiers I have here on this list, and it's the I don't know what you are tier yet.
What's the patience with Bryce Young in Carolina?
Not very high, because they were done with him.
I know.
5 weeks into last season.
Saying, he played great.
He came back because of an injury
and played well. But I mean, again, yesterday against Jacksonville in a game that wouldn't end because of a lightning delay, Bryce Young was, I thought, unimpressive again. I'm curious what they're going to do there, because if they decide he's not the guy, they need to go out and make a move of some sort, or just be bad again and draft a guy. But that's one that I'm super intrigued about, because he did come back and play well, but I don't think that's predictive of this season necessarily.
Who would you say for the I don't know what you are? There are 7 teams in this bin. Who would you say are like the 3 teams that you would pick to rise above, higher up into this exercise?
Falcons for me.
They move the ball. Yeah.
The Patriots for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and the third one's difficult. I think the
Seahawks.
I think it's
Seahawks
Seattle
or Jaguars. Yeah. Jacksonville, I just have no clue about yet. But that's probably
nice little start for them. Put some points up.
Yeah.
Nice little awkward Shad Khan post-game locker room speech.
He's just unbelievable.
As everyone kind of looked over, like, is he done? What's happening right now?
That Falcons loss was a tough one, though. Whew.
It is tough. That is tough. That's tough. Sunday Night Football next week at this week, I should say, at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
Pretenders tier. Over maybe week 1 overreactions, but I'm putting them in the pretenders tier.
Wow.
And that's the Lions
Here we go.
and the Texans. So both these teams been perennial playoff teams. CJ Stroud has won playoff games each of his first 2 seasons. The Lions, we kind of talked about that already. But I thought both these teams had some pretty big fart noise duds in week 1 for their performance. So they go in pretenders. They are pretenders for this week's tier list.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to go against that after the week 1 performance. So these are week 1 tiers.
Yep.
And based on week 1 tiers, tough to fight you.
There's more.
Oh, wow. Oh, we're panicking on the Cowboys after
Start
that game?
panicking.
Really?
Start panicking. Yeah, start panicking. Yeah,
These are 2 wildly different week 1
The
performances
Dolphins, I'm
here.
with you.
for sure. Well, you also don't have your player before the kickoff come and spit on the other dude. You don't that's a coaching thing too. Like,
Well,
have
that
your
was
team
the
ready.
Eagles.
Well, the Eagles, yes, but regardless, that whole mess. The whole thing was a mess, and the Cowboys are a mess. They traded their star player right before the season started. I don't want anything to do with this. Start panicking. If you're a Cowboys fan, start panicking. I thought that whole thing was awful. People get.
I mean, the Cowboys were. The Dolphins for sure panic. I would put the Cowboys maybe in the I don't know what you are.
That's what I was going to say.
Probably in the I don't know what you are. But they whatever we thought they were, I think they are higher up. Like, their stock went up after a week 1 loss, I think.
Well, they're just a dysfunctional.
And I love how Declan's blaming the Cowboys coaching staff for an Eagles player getting ejected.
Just both of them were jawing back and forth. I didn't like it. I don't know if Schottenheimer's the guy either. Jerry Jones is a buffoon. They trade Michael Parsons. Dude, honestly, if you're a Cowboys fan, do you feel good today? Do you feel good today?
Macro, no. Micro, hey, okay, they competed pretty well against the Eagles.
You're just
macro, you should always panic if you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know if they are a start panicking candidate, but they're definitely a dysfunctional mess.
Okay, and final tier. You're on the clock. You're already on the clock after week 1 tier, and that's the Giants, Saints, and Browns. You're on the clock. I will say, poor Spencer Rattler. Looked like he did throw the game-tying touchdown. His receiver couldn't haul it in. And I like Kellen Moore a lot, but they are definitely gearing up for a 2026 and maybe even beyond. A little bit of a rebuild here for New Orleans, but you're on the clock. You're on the clock if you're one of these 3 teams. Already looking at the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler threw a great pass. That last-second pass that the guy didn't catch, and he was hit. It was a tough catch, but that was great. I feel like of all of these teams here, you're on the clock. I feel like the Saints are very internally comfortable with where things are. I think they're going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I think, but they've got a first-year coach.
Mission.
He's not being fired. Because the Giants, Dable, I think, is gone if they're not good. And it sounds like, so the reporters, of course, in New York asked Dable, Russell Wilson starting next week, right? And he's like, I don't. And he wouldn't answer the question. Jackson Dart is going to start at some point, right? Cleveland is just a mess, which is a shame because Myles Garrett, 3 sacks on the day, still a great player. But I feel like the Saints are very comfortable with being a 2025 DOA.
Yeah, the Giants, I think probably week 3 or week 4 is when you make the Jackson Dart move. I mean, Russell Wilson, It is pretty sad what's happened to his Hall of Fame stock too, because I think like the minute he left Seattle, and hell, I was guilty on this show. You're looking around for maybe the next quarterback for the Vikings, and Kirk's first contract was about to run out. And we spent time on this show saying, hell, if you could get that Seattle version of Russell Wilson up in here, that'd be kind of fun, right?
Yes.
And if his career had ended prematurely after his Seahawks career, I think he might get Hall of Fame consideration. But, the damage he's done to just his stock with the Broncos and the Steelers, he was good for like a month, but I don't know what that was yesterday. So there they are, Dex's tears.
Nicely done.
Dex's tears.
Go Cowboys.
Cowboys catching strays from Dex there. Let's go through a couple of Vikings related things here, like the Harrison Smith news that came out before we wrap this live edition of Purple Daily NFL Take. Excuse me. SeatGeek is a place where you can find tickets to great sporting events. Dex.
Heck, maybe you're looking to come up to US Bank Stadium and you want to get on a Vikings game. Well, that's a great idea. In fact, go to SeatGeek right now. It has over 28 million downloads. It's the number one rated ticketing app. And whether it's baseball, football, concerts, you can get 10% off any tickets with promo code PURPLE10. So if you're looking to get up for any type of game, any concert, there's tickets available, obviously, for Sunday Night Football coming up. So promo code PURPLE10 for anyone looking to get in on any of the fun actions happening in Minneapolis or any surrounding area. It doesn't have to be in the Twin Cities either. Go to SeatGeek, go download the SeatGeek app in the Apple Play and Google Play Store.
This is the time of year, Judd, where you want to make sure your HVAC systems are operating. You don't want to go into like October, November and have a bad HVAC system.
Nope, and that's why you should, as always, call MSP, which is a place where they are going to make sure that your furnace is operating as best it possibly can. And don't let this week fool you. Don't let, it's going to get back to 75. It's going to be warm. And you're going to say, I can put off the furnace repairs. I can put off, there's something might be wrong, but we'll save that for a later date. Do you remember last week how cold it got? My furnace kicked on last week. And folks, that means that we are getting towards winter, and that means that MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air can come to the rescue for you. Don't wait till it's broken. Do it now. Make sure that the tune-up is done. 651-615-4292, or check them out at callmsp.com. Callmsp.com to make sure that HVAC system is operating as efficiently as it should be.
A couple more weeks, 3 more weeks left of the Minnesota Renaissance Festival as well. Open weekends, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. through September 28th. And a bunch of new adventures. You can face off against fearsome Vikings in epic battles. You can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival is great for kids and families, and also for adults or date nights, days. You can do all the things I just said, plus a ton of things for the kids, like a petting zoo, rides, games, arts and crafts. Weekends through September 28th. Get your tickets and find out more information at renaissancefest.com. Okay, boys. Harrison Smith is out tonight, according to the Vikings injury report. Or he's doubtful, or he's been
declared out.
He's not even traveling.
They came back yesterday, and so he was doubtful after the practice on Saturday because he took part of the walkthrough, and then he was declared out on Sunday.
So I don't know what should our panic index be for the illness that he's been grinding for almost a month now, and he's not traveling with the team?
Yeah, well, he's back at practice, so that's good. So he's not absent from the team. I think he'll be fine, but it does definitely have an impact because he sort of he is a assistant coach on the field, which is why he still plays a ton of snaps. So what you're going to have now, because Cam Bynum obviously is with the Colts, is tonight you're going to have Theo Jackson will start, Josh Metellus will start, Jay Ward, because they like to play 3 safeties, will be used more. And here's my big question. Does Josh Metellus still play the Josh Metellus role, or does he play more of the Harrison Smith role? Because Metellus knows this defense backwards and forwards. He's incredibly smart. Heck, in the last preseason game, he called some defensive plays. So do you have him play a traditional safety role to take care of those things? And then Jay Ward, who Phil Weebo saw cross-train at sort of the Josh Metellus position, does he become, when you employ 3 safeties, the rover? So That's the big question. But Harrison Smith, I don't think he'll be missed a ton as like a player, like because he's a declining player, but he'll be missed as far as a leader and a guy that can fix things quickly defensively. So I'll be curious to see. But this provides an awesome opportunity for Jay Ward, who has only played 3% of the snaps on defense each of his first 2 years, and that is definitely going to climb.
I disagree unless maybe what you meant to say is what I'm about to say. Is like, I think physically as a player, Harrison Smith isn't the speed-wise everything that he was a few years ago, but I think his value is so ingrained in pre-snap reads, rattling young quarterbacks, and just picking things up and being Harrison Smith. I think they're going to miss that a lot, even though he's not the same guy physically that he was maybe 3 or 5 years ago. Like Jay Ward doesn't bring that type of just the ability to sense that, oh, this is going to happen over here, and I'm going to be the one that blows it up.
Smith is literally, the reason why he's still here is he is a coach on the field. And so, but that's where I think Metellus probably takes the Smith role, because Harrison Smith fixes a lot of things on the fly and presents looks, and I think Metellus is in the best spot possible to be the savvy veteran now. But yeah, if this was just about athletic ability right now, it probably wouldn't be as big a deal. But when you get into the football intelligence aspect of things, Harrison Smith definitely missed. Now, the nice thing should be it's Caleb Williams' first game with Ben Johnson. So it's not if this was like long in the tooth, if this was Joe Burrow, right? Then it's a real problem because he's really good and he's going to exploit that. As good as Ben Johnson has been with Jared Goff against the Vikings, I think we're giving that too much credence when you're changing the quarterback completely to a guy who, as you said before, might struggle a little bit more to run an offense that's really complex.
Yeah, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford were the only two quarterbacks to really drub this defense last year and to beat the Vikings. And those guys have years and years of experience dissecting defenses, calmly absorbing a blitz, and then replacing a blitzer with a pass over the middle. And if Caleb Williams is doing that in week 1 Monday Night Football in this offense against the Vikings, then look out NFC, because then you might have the fully formed version of. But I remain skeptical. I would be shocked if in week 1 of this system, if Caleb Williams is calmly dissecting it with his arm the way that Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford did last year. It would be shocking to me. I don't think if the Vikings lose to the Bears, famous last words here, I don't think it's because Caleb Williams throws for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns and
just
looks
dissects
like
them. Just dissects them.
I don't see that. So Darrisaw looks like he's in. Is the other piece of pretty big news here, right? Christian Darrisaw starting at left tackle.
He was questionable. O'Connell essentially said at his press conference on Saturday that Christian Darrisaw is going to have a huge say if he plays because his progress has been so good. I think everything that they've done, though, leading up to this game tracks to him playing, because he practiced in full on Wednesday. He didn't practice on Thursday, which again makes a ton of sense. They had a practice, mythical practice, because there has to be an injury report on Friday, and he was full go. But then, more importantly, he was full go in the walkthrough and what they did on Saturday. So yeah, I think, I don't know that they would have declared him out for sure yesterday like they did with Smith. Smith got declared out for sure because he didn't travel. Darrisaw was going to travel, but yes, I think that Christian Darrisaw deserves a ton of credit here. This is a remarkable, a man of that size to come back from an ACL and MCL last October. This is a remarkable comeback. So, yes, I think he plays, and if he plays, that means that we get a full look at this new offensive line.
Yeah. That's going to be – and injuries are definitely going to be a theme because Ryan Kelly has had injury issues and Will Fries broke his leg last year. That's more of a freak situation. But Darrisaw has a propensity to miss games. So they might need to lean on some of that depth, but it'll be really interesting to see what that offensive line looks like, fully formed, pass protecting, everything for JJ McCarthy.
Interior offensive and defensive line play from the Vikings, for me, is probably 2 and 3 behind the McCarthy debut on the list of things I'm excited to see.
Yeah. And it'll directly correlate to how that debut goes for young JJ McCarthy. All right, so tonight we will be live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel for our first in-season Vikings Vent Line of the year. And maybe you're new to Purple Daily over the past year or so, but this is the place for fans to gather on the Purple Daily YouTube channel right after every single game. And if you want to be part of the show, we will bring on, 10, 15, 18 different people. You can email vikingsventline@gmail.com. That's vikingsventline@gmail.com. And we will get you scheduled. We'll get you in the mix. And if you're in Chicago, too, it's always fun when people join us from the stadium, walking out or maybe still lingering in the stadium. So just save that email for tonight and for the year, vikingsventline@gmail.com. All right, dudes. Happy week 1.
So I'm ready to go.
Rest up for a big night tonight. Vikings and Bears, Monday Night Football. These have been our NFL takes on Purple Daily. We'll see you guys later tonight.